Hello everyone, thank you for joining and welcome to Data Robotics live webcast on the all-new Drobo S. I'd like to introduce Mark Fuccio, Senior Director of Products and Markets. Mark has been with Drobo for over 5 years.
Thank you, Chelsea. Thanks everyone for making time in your schedule this afternoon. The Drobo invasion is continuing. We've shipped over 150,000 units since we started FCS. As of this point, it's closer to 170. More importantly, and more interestingly, our growth rate is accelerating. Each quarter this year we grew faster than the preceding one. Faster in Q2 than in Q1, faster in Q3 than in Q4. In fact, through the end of September, our revenues far exceeded what we did in 2009. The growth is occurring across our entire product line. All of the Drobos are doing well. We've worked to target them to specific market needs and opportunities, and we think our financial results are showing that. Clearly, our growth is not going to continue at this rate forever, but it shows that in the short term, the market is adopting and embracing our vision of self-managing, easy, and expandable storage systems. Today, we're going to talk about the new Drobo S. We've upgraded the first generation Drobo S with the addition of super speed USB 3.0 as an interface. The Drobo S is a 5-drive desktop system. It's the industry's most advanced USB 3 storage array. This is the only USB 3 array that will support multiple LUNs. What this means is to your Mac or to your PC, it can look like multiple drives. This is important because as drives become bigger, the Drobo S will be able to scale to 32 terabytes of capacity and beyond. USB 3 is the third fast interface on the Drobo S, the other two being eSATA and FireWire 800. USB 3.0 is backward compatible with USB, so you can buy a device now knowing that it will operate with computers that have USB 2 connections until you upgrade to a USB 3. Alternatively, you can use eSATA or FireWire. It's your choice. The box has 3 fast interfaces. You can use the one that's best for you. Who should use a Drobo S? There are a number of application areas. First would be creative professionals. This Drobo S is a fast desktop array that has enough performance for editing video or editing large images, the sort that you find if you're a photographer or doing a lot of print and image work. Drobo S, we're sure, will also be adopted by scientific and technical professionals. It's great for storing large CAD/CAM databases, storing scientific results captured from experiments like genomics and the like. So it's a great tool for storing scientific data as well as having enough performance that you can plug it into a fast machine for analysis. Drobo S also will have a role in traditional IT arenas. This will be a way to add additional storage to a server, or it can be used as a target for doing disk-to-disk backup. This slide shows an overview of the Drobo S. As with all other Drobo models, we use colored lights as indicators to communicate status. Adjacent to each hard drive bay is an indicator light. Most times this will be green. Green meaning everything is okay. As the Drobo S gets full, at 85% of used capacity, a light will turn yellow. This will either be on an empty drive bay or over the smallest drive in the Drobo. Drobo is affectionately telling you that it's getting hungry and it's low on storage capacity. At 95% full, if you haven't added an additional disk drive, this light will turn from yellow to red. It's sort of like that gas indicator in your car where it's giving you a warning that, hey, I'm getting critically low on capacity, you need to take action now. Along the bottom, we have capacity indicators and a power light. This shows the back of the Drobo S. On the lower left, we have the connection for the external power supply. Then moving along the bottom, we have the interfaces, eSATA, dual FireWire 800, and a USB 3. Above them is the rocker switch. This is an on-off switch that you can power the unit on or off. And then a connection for a Kensington lock to be able to secure the physical chassis. Drobo uses colored lights to communicate status. It's able to do this because it's data aware. This is in contrast to a traditional RAID system where basically RAID is a simple mapping. Data comes in, the RAID controller breaks it into pieces and writes it out onto the array. Drobo is data aware. This means that it knows which blocks of data are used on the drive set within it. This is why it's able to give you indicators of when it gets full. And along the bottom, that line of blue indicator lights represent capacity. There's 10 of them, each for 10, 20, 30, 40%, etc. full. By being data aware, Drobo is able to give you a visual indication so you can tell just quickly by looking at it how much capacity is free and how much has been used. Another benefit of being data aware occurs if you have bad luck and a hard drive fails. In a traditional RAID array, consider say it's a 4 terabyte array, the rebuild will rebuild all 4 terabytes of data. In Drobo, the rebuild time is proportional to the amount of data on the device. In the worst case, it will take as long as a traditional RAID array, but if the drive is only 10% empty, it will take 1/10 of the time necessary to rebuild a traditional RAID. This is a big benefit. You don't have to wait to get access back to your data. In fact, in contrast with traditional RAID arrays, if Drobo is doing a rebuild operation, it gives priority to servicing the read and write data access requests by its users. In a traditional RAID system, the RAID will go into a so-called degraded state where it will tend to its own housekeeping operations and deny users access. Next capability of Drobo is its ability to mix and match drives. If we look at a traditional RAID array, the capacity is determined by the smallest drive in the drive set. So if you have larger drives, the capacity is just simply not used. With Drobo, however, we use that capacity. This stems from the way Drobo's Beyond RAID technology works. At its heart, Drobo pools the capacity of the drives together. And then as data is written onto it, Drobo will write it onto multiple drives and do it in such a way that your data is always protected. By doing this, it's able to simultaneously have combinations of different RAID levels in a traditional RAID array. You may have a combination where you have simultaneously mirroring and RAID 5 existing across some or all of the disk packs in the Drobo. Don't worry, this sounds complex, but Drobo handles it. As a user, all you need to know is that your data is safe against a single or 2 hard drive failures. Drobo supports a great capability called pay-as-you-grow. This is important because in many home uses or small business uses, don't want to have to overspend for a lot of storage capacity. Because traditional RAID arrays make it very difficult, if not impossible, to expand their capacity, you basically have to guess how much data you're going to have, how long you want to use the array, and then invest the amount of money it takes to buy that today. What's happening is most of the time the drives are spinning empty. So you're paying for capacity now that's going to go down in price because that's what drives do. Competition between the hard drive makers means ever larger drives come available at lower and lower price. So it's foolish from an economic standpoint to invest in a lot of empty drives now when they're going to be 40% on average cheaper and less expensive a year from today. So with Drobo, you can start with 2 drives. Why 2? That way you're protected from a hard drive failure. Then as your data needs grow, you can expand by adding a 3rd drive or a 4th drive or even a 5th drive. When you have a 5th drive, you can continue to expand it. All you need to do is replace a small drive with a bigger one. This functionality means that the Drobo S gives you virtually unlimited capacity and ability to expand. As long as you can get a larger disk drive on the market, you can put it into Drobo and expand its capacity. Drobo is simple and easy to use. It takes a complex burden off of its users. The Drobo dashboard is a simple piece of software that can be installed on either a Mac or a PC, and it lets you manage and set up the Drobo. Its main view is the pie chart as shown here. The green represents how much of the capacity has been used. The gray area represents how much space is available. In addition to using indicator lights on the Drobo chassis, you can get status information through email alerts. You may want to do this because you put it in a server room and won't see it, or you may be away from your office or your home and you want to get an email alert if something happens. In the Drobo dashboard, there's a simple management panel shown here where you set up the email alert information. Basically, all you need to do is enter your email address and then select what level of information you want. You can get very fine-grained information in terms of status, or you can get just a summary where Drobo will only email you if it's getting full or in the rare event that a hard drive has failed. Probably the best part of Drobo Dashboard is its functionality called Drobo Copy. This is a backup utility that's available in the system. It allows you to set up backup jobs that will run at a schedule. To set it up, you select a source and a destination. The source can be the high-level drive for everything on your computer, or it can be maybe your home directory or only a subset, like maybe a My Documents or a My Photos folder. And you can select a place to back it up to. So this is a great way that you can back everything up on your computer to a Drobo. With Drobo Copy, you can create multiple backup jobs. This is useful because you might want to back up your work in the afternoon and in the evening so that when you go for lunch or when you go for dinner, your data is automatically backed up. Drobo Copy gives the ability to create as many backup jobs with as much granularity to ensure that you can have a backup strategy that matches the way you work. Drobo S is sold in a variety of ways. Unlike traditional RAID vendors where it has to be sold with exactly the same hard drives running exactly the same firmware level, Drobo S will allow you to mix and match hard drives. They can be of different capacities or of different vendors. One way we sell it is just the base Drobo S, and the new Drobo S with USB 3 is at the same price as its predecessor, the Gen 1, $799. We offer a variety of configurations using Western Digital Green Power drives, 5 terabytes, 7.5 terabytes, or 10 terabytes. A fully configured Drobo S with 10 terabytes of capacity comes in at the aggressive price of $1799. That's the end of my presentation. I'll turn it back to Chelsea and we'll take questions from the audience.
Thank you, Mark. For the first question, what USB 3.0 card do you recommend?
On our website and the knowledge base part of drobo.com/support, you can look for a knowledge base article on USB 3 interface cards that will present a list of qualified cards that we have tested and worked with.
Okay, next question. How fast is the USB 3.0 interface?
On the Drobo S, the eSATA is the fastest interface, followed by USB 3.0 and then FireWire 800. To put a number on it, the USB 3.0, you will see performance reads and writes between 75 and as high as 90 megabytes per second. The exact figure depends on the mix of files, whether they're large files like movies or small files like Office documents.
And the last question, can I use both eSATA and USB 3.0 at the same time?
While the Drobo S offers 3 different interfaces, at any one time only one of them may be used. So basically you need to make a choice of which one you want to connect to on your computer and then plug it in and use it. If you want to manually share the Drobo S between different computers, then you can use different interfaces. For instance, one machine may have eSATA, the other one may not, and you may just use USB 3 or maybe a USB 2.0 connection.
Okay, thank you very much, Mark. If you have any further questions, please contact the Drobo sales team at sales@drobo.com or call in at 1-866